Hi, I'm Andrew Zena Hayashi, the Asperger King, and today we're going to be reacting to the video Why Leftist Women Are Miserable by Misha Petrov. Let's get into it.
You don't have pronouns on your profile.
Oh, I pledge allegiance to the trans is a silencing tactic. It is a woke way to tell women to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
I will make my allyship and love for trans people clear and irrefutable. I will support every single trans woman, no matter what. Being accused of harboring a trait that I do not have. Why are you playing a game you cannot win? You are a cisgender male.
Why play a game you cannot win?
I struck gold, guys. I really, really did.
Did you now?
The woke versus woker battle.
Oh no, woke versus
woker
war.
This black feminist creator is being accused of being a TERF, or trans exclusionary radical feminist. So
oh my
we would
goodness.
go down this rabbit hole together, because from what I've seen, it's actually insane. The left eating its own never gets they never seem to learn that you just cannot win. You will never be woke enough for them. This was the video that really
goddamn woke people.
It's really important that we're mindful of the really insidious but not as obvious ways that misogyny manifests, specifically on the left. Because as I said before, ad nauseum, the left is also a very sexist party, but they have to get very creative with the way that they express that sexism. Yeah, from biological men. It also includes trans women sometimes. And it should be okay to say that, unless you're putting all trans women on a pedestal, which is something we should not do.
Do not do that.
Equality.
Nobody on a pedestal.
Some say they care about that, but they really want special treatment. Yes, kidding. Here's my thing. Calling somebody a TERF is a very, very, very serious allegation. Are you a TERF? Am I a TERF? Let's talk about that first. And then we can talk about whether or not this individual is a TERF.
Misha is not a TERF.
If it really is a serious allegation, right? So like we said, transgender, exclusionary, radical feminist. So to be a TERF, you'd have to be a radical feminist, which I don't think I am. I'm definitely a feminist, but radical feminism is a broader branch of feminism that focuses on systemic power structures and the way that society socializes women. Some things I agree with them on, some things I disagree with them on.
That's fair.
On work, things like OnlyFriends, not being empowering. No, not to women, not to men. See, not every radical feminist is anti-trans, and not every woman accused of being a TERF is even a radical feminist. So we have the radical feminism, and then we have the trans-exclusionary part of that. Many women believe that womanhood is rooted in biological sex, and some of those women oppose to including trans women because trans women are biological men. So they shouldn't be welcome in certain female spaces. Now there are certainly things that only biological women experience, like menstrual cycles. But some trans women will say, no, actually, we get periods too. Not all trans women believe that, but many do for some reason. And then there are those who claim, no, it doesn't matter where you are in your transition. I'm a biological man. When I decide, okay, I'm actually a trans woman, the very next day, I can throw on a wig. I don't even have to throw on a wig because I'm self-identifying as a woman now, so I can waltz into the women's restroom. I can
That's not right. That should be illegal, and I'm a trans person. Well, I'm more of a cross-dresser.
TERF is used more broadly, sometimes just against women who prioritize biological female safety, discuss women's issues when it comes to biology, because again, they care about very specific biological functions like menstruation, which women experience, or pregnancy, which women experience.
Indeed.
Trans women cannot experience any of those things because trans women are not women. They are trans women, which are biological men. That doesn't make them evil. That doesn't mean they can identify however they want or present as women. Completely fine. But it does mean they cannot grow a uterus, they cannot have a period, or get pregnant.
What if they got a uterus transplanted?
You need to take a biology class. I don't know what to tell you. Let's continue. But it's very obvious that a lot of the time when feminists are getting called TERFs, which mind you, you can make the most benign feminist comment on the internet ever, and you're going to have people in your comment section calling you a TERF. This is one of the ways in which the left attempts to silence feminists. These allegations do not come from a place of, I'm concerned, Paris, you said X, Y, and Z thing, can you address that? It's just, oh, it's a bad vibe. You have a bad vibe. I don't know, there's something weird going on.
Oh no, not bad vibe.
The fact that I'm not shying away from talking about women online. It is that either internalized sexism or just outright sexism that's just trying to silence me. They get jealous of menstruation, pregnancy, other things that only women can experience, that trans women cannot experience. And that's just the reality. So they go under these female creators' pages and they comment, oh, you don't think Brendan, who's actually Brenda now, can compete against Sarah and dominate female sports? TERF. Not under this exact creator, because she's not a TERF, actually.
I think that this video in particular had a lot of transphobic undertones to it.
And here's the backlash. So, nothing crazy was said, right? Are we on the same page, or was that super transphobic, like we're living in completely different realities? Because what I just heard, I'm just trying to pretend I'm the super woke trans woman right now listening to that video. Alarm bells are not going off, right? I'm not clutching my trans pearls and, crying, because I don't hear the transphobia here. I don't even hear the turfness here. I'm not sure where these accusations came from, but let's hear from some trans women.
Ends up, whether knowingly or unknowingly, allowing people to draw trans exclusionary conclusions from it, and also just makes it so that it's generally not a welcoming space to trans women.
I see.
Oh, I see.
So because other people assume that something is transphobic, that's not making it a safe space for trans women.
Oh well,
okay,
boo-hoo,
so
grow the fuck up.
We have to tattoo, I love trans women, I will support every single trans woman no matter what, on our faces, just in case a trans woman gets her feelings hurt. Otherwise, they could assume that something is not trans-inclusive, and we wouldn't want that. We have to police females' language and silence them when trans women are offended. Great. We're off to a fantastic start, because you're already scanning the room for transphobia. We have to alter the way that we speak about our issues affecting biological women, because again, there are certain things only biological women can go through. We have to change it up, and we have to make sure everything includes you, biological men. I love that.
That's
oh my God,
annoying
that
and
like
stupid.
Misogynistic. But we can't say that. Shh. A trans woman might be listening, and she might get offended. We can't say that.
The idea that the label TERF is being used to silence or discredit feminists is itself a TERF talking point.
You cannot win.
Oh my goodness, this tranny is delusional. Shut up.
Respect women and have common sense when it comes to this issue. Like, you have to have some nuance. Yes, you can look like a woman and you can experience things like catcalling, right, harassment. That's all true.
Yes.
But there are certain things that only biological women can experience. Like, how many times do we have to say this? How doesn't it click? How is that transphobic to acknowledge? You cannot become a female. If you were born a male, you will remain a male. This?
You can say your feminism includes trans women, so I'm offended, and that's actually TERF rhetoric by saying you're not a TERF.
Can't you just present however you want and let biological women talk about biological women's issues? I'm sure you have your own issues. There has to be some separation, because our experiences will be different. I don't know what it's like being a trans woman, and you don't know what it's like being a female. So let's not pretend that we understand each other's experiences. Why is that so hard?
The first time that you ever came up on my For You page, I was like, let me go check out this creator more, and I swipe over to the page, and yeah, the first thing that I noticed is that you don't have pronouns on your profile.
So
oh well, big deal, boo-hoo.
This affects
Grow
me
up.
how that she doesn't have pronouns in her bio. This is giving me flashbacks to 2020, where people were demanding you put pronouns in your bio to show your support for trans people. Oh my God, just be trans. What does it have to do with me? I'm not talking about this specific person, but there were people demanding you put pronouns in your bio or else you're not an ally. Just live your life.
I'm trans and I'm not putting pronouns in my bio.
Narcissism.
And so without clearly and loudly advocating for trans people, without pushing back actively against transphobes on your page is going to be viewed as an open invitation to transphobes.
The thing is, there will be transphobes, there will be homophobes, there will be misogynists, there will be racists, there will be all kinds of nasty comments left under any single post, because that's the internet, right? Like, you can do things to try and moderate that. You can get, like, common moderators, which I recommend, so that you allow freedom of speech, of course. But if it's something super hateful, calls to violence, that kind of thing, absolutely. Or the platform itself will usually take it down as well. But you cannot expect that creator to be scanning her comments, specifically for the transphobic comments, right? And, deleting everything. And on top of that, creating content. You cannot be serious. I mean, maybe if you're used to getting, let's say 100 comments and that's it, You don't know how hard that would be for someone who gets millions of views on every single video, on TikTok especially. She cannot physically do that. Like, she would literally have no time to make the videos, to do anything else except scroll, scanning for, God forbid, a transphobic comment because you wouldn't like that comment. There's also a simpler way to not see that, and that is to not read it. You cannot handle that. Because even if she deletes every hateful comment, the world isn't this pretty, cutesy, fluffy rainbow shit. The world is full of hateful people who will leave hateful comments.
Indeed.
That is not a reflection of that creator, and that does not represent her views.
Paris is getting TERF allegations, and she low-key did it to herself. I went down the rabbit hole.
Oh, she asked for it, did she? I would love to hear a man's opinion on this. I mean, we already did. A biological man decided to speak up. And now we have not a trans woman this time. Just a man who would also like to give his 2 cents on why a feminist creator should be silenced. I love it.
Also, other people said that, like, trans people, they don't have, like, the luxury of just, like, assuming someone's not transphobic, like, if they don't say anything, period.
You know what? I don't go through life assuming everyone is sexist and homophobic. Even if someone is sexist and homophobic, honestly, they have a problem with me, that's their problem. Their problem with me is their problem. It's not my problem. They have an issue, oh well. Get well soon. What can I say? I bother them? Oh well, again, they're the one that is being bothered. That's not my responsibility to goo-goo gag at them. Oh, let me argue with you, let me try and change your mind. No, I don't give a shit. I don't understand how so many people care this much, truly. This creator could be a TERF. Oh my god, cancel her. This is what the leftist cult is. Does that mean the right is perfect? No. Both extremes are f***ing crazy. But the left, that crazy. You say one little thing out of line, oh, you're excommunicated. They're going to cancel you. They're going to try to ruin your life because you might be a TERF. Oh my god, like people are dying? Like people are being bombed? And we're worried about what?
But then what really messed it up is she made a video where she was like, oh, like, you know, people use the term TERF to silence feminists. In that you'll get called a TERF for saying anything remotely feminist. And it's just like, is that true?
Like, yeah.
And there's a bunch of people who broke it down. Like, apparently there's multiple dog whistles in it. But then I feel like that video blew it up so much more. That's why I said she did to herself, because I feel like it wouldn't even be like a topic talked about the way I've seen it if she did not make that video, right?
She did it to herself. She was basically asking for it. What was she wearing?
Oh my goodness.
What was she wearing in that video?
Not so
like,
stupid and dumb.
For the trans people to go after her and call her a TERF. She did it to herself, guys. I love that.
Now that you say it, I've never heard Paris mention the struggles of Ethiopian American women with flat faces that curse like f***ing sailors who prefer the company of small furry creatures to that of humans. Why hasn't she been including me in her feminism?
Exactly, right? This is the bean soup theory. Under a post about how to make bean soup. Well, what if I don't like bean soup? Well,
I don't like
then
bean
don't make the
soup.
Bean soup.
Okay, I'm not gonna make
this
it
video's
then.
Not for you. They're actually going after her, like this woman points out, right, in this comedic way, where she didn't specifically mention trans women, where she talks about her own experiences, and talks about feminism, right, from a biological female's perspective. Why did she mention trans women? Well, maybe because she's not a trans woman. Have you thought of that? That not everything is about you? Why in your head, when someone is not paying attention to you or validating your identity, you equate that to these people are transphobic? Can you explain that jump to me? Why do you always have to include it in the conversation?
That jump. I don't get it either.
Not everything is about you. Not every single creator has to talk about trans women because they're not the majority. You guys have your own issues that you face. And yes, some of it overlaps. I'm not denying that because when you look like a woman, obviously, some people who don't even know you're trans will objectify you, will harass you, absolutely. I'm sure many trans women go through that, but there are also differences, like we've spoken about a million times at this point. And if you cannot handle that reality, do not insert yourself into this conversation. Like, if we want to have a conversation about what's in space, like the different planets and galaxies and whatnot, and you say, well, space isn't real, how can we have a conversation about space if you refuse to acknowledge space, if you refuse to acknowledge the differences between biological men and biological women?
If you are a content creator and you mainly prioritize feminist content without disclosing your position on trans women being real women, then yes, I will think you are a TERF. Period.
So you swear trans women are trans women, which are biological men. Women are women.
Maybe I'm just extremely unwoke, but why would a feminist content creator need to center trans women in her topics and her discussions when trans women are a non-factor in the female population? Most women are not trans.
Indeed.
Not even 1% of women are trans. when I say you cannot appeal to the wokeettes because they'll start demanding that doesn't make any sense.
She's you, wokeettes.
Yeah.
I love that.
You know that the group getting silenced across the board is trans people, not cisgender feminists. This is such a dangerous way to be talking when trans people across the U.S. are being attacked by our government.
Like, how are you being attacked? Like,
How?
there's a push for
What's
kids not to
happening?
be put on puberty blockers like that. I would like very specific examples, first of all.
Me
And even
too.
if we had all this proof that there is a trans genocide happening.
There is no
let's
trans
exhaust it. How
genocide
still does that
happening.
mean that feminist creator has to talk about trans women? Just explain it to me. And what about the trans disabled people? They have it even worse. Why hasn't she mentioned them? Why don't you mention them? There is a trans disabled genocide. You're giving me a bad vibe. That's what they said about her. You haven't even mentioned them. What's that about? Oh, you are a trans disabled exclusionary radical feminist. TDERF. You're a TDERF, and you should be canceled.
Keep saying there's nothing to point to, but you could point to this video. Literally, this video, you are spreading rhetoric. This whole thing started because she thinks that some people on the left don't think that white women are oppressed.
This is true. Another thing I agree with her on. Not just that, sometimes they'll say something straight up sexist, and especially coming from men that do this, but they'll just put white in front of that, like on the TikTok, right? It'll be like, white women, and then whatever sexist comment. But it's fine, because they put white. And we can make fun of white women, but we cannot make fun of black women. But white women, be as sexist as you want.
This is nothing but a silencing tactic. People hate feminist creators. People hate when women talk about our own issues and when our primary focus is women's issues.
It depends what side of the internet you're on.
And so frequently I see feminist content creators on here who are accused of being bigoted, not because they're actually bigoted or because they said anything bigoted, but because they primarily advocate for women and people hate that. It's happened to me before. I made a video probably a year ago criticizing the corn industry, and a man with a much larger following than me got in my comments and accused me of being a swerf, which is an S-worker, exclusionary radical feminist.
What the
And
fuck?
I'm not a swerf. I know that I'm not. I know that my feminism does include S-workers.
If I was a radical feminist, I would be a TERF, I would be a swerf, I would be a smurf, I would be whatever. This I agree with her on. I don't think work is empowering. I don't think OnlyFriends is empowering. And you know what? I still am friendly with certain creators that I know have an OF, and I don't dehumanize them. I don't see them as worthless human beings because that's what they're choosing to do as adults. I may not agree with that choice. I don't think it's empowering. But will I never speak to them again? No, because there are certain things we do agree on. Be friends with people that have made different life choices. That's part of adult life. But the left cannot do this. They cannot. And some people on the right can't do it either. If you're not religious, oh, you're going to burn in hell. I can't be friends. There's certain people like that. I mean, most Christians and stuff will try to kind of bring you over to their side. But when that doesn't work, some of them, and this I found to be the minority of Christians, but they do exist. Some of them take that rejection and will be like, okay, well, you basically. But I've experienced this way more on the left, where they cannot handle any disagreement.
Because I was criticizing an industry that harms women, because I was advocating for women, they want you to shut the f*** up.
Compassion completely disappears as soon as someone is labeled problematic, potentially problematic.
Yeah.
They don't even have any proof, mind you. It was a vibe, you see? Saying I'm not a TERF. It's TERF rhetoric. You can't win. Why are you playing a game you cannot win? It's
That's
rigged, girl.
stupid.
Wasting your time. I'm not saying you
Don't
can
play
win
games
on the
you
right.
can't
I'm not telling
win.
you to pick a side. I'm telling you to think for yourself, approach each issue individually. I
Yes.
encourage everyone to do that. Not to flock like a stupid little bird or a little sheep. Oh, everyone says she's a TERF, okay? I'm not even going to look at the video, she's a TERF. I want to be part of the group because I can't make it on my own. I have to be part of a group. Like, there's something wrong with you. If you're so scared of losing other cult members, they're not your friends if they're willing to drop you over something like this. We're so compassionate. We're so empathetic. As soon as you say something wrong, and then we're ruthless, and then you're inhuman. You're a worthless piece of trash bigot because potentially you could be a TERF. Why would you want to be friends with people like that? Explain.
I don't want to be
Why
friends
would you
with
want
people like
supporters
that.
Why
That
would
would
you
annoy
cater
me.
to those people? Why would you apologize to those people? Which I regret to inform you, she did, and that's The one thing you should never do if you've done nothing wrong is apologize, especially
Yeah,
to
don't apologize when you're not wrong.
You should not want, because there is an inability to tolerate imperfect allies. They will continue to eat their own until no one is left. Calling a feminist woman a TERF or a SWERF when they have not said anything TERFy or SWERFy is a silencing tactic. It is a woke way to tell women to shut the f*** up. Paris is not a TERF, and she's already said as much. So this witch hunt that you guys have created out of thin air as a woke way to tell a black woman to shut the f*** up about women's issues is so frustrating. Paris is unbelievably smart and insightful, and I would hate for her to be dissuaded from posting her opinions on the internet because there are people who will intentionally misinterpret you to get you to shut up. Let me explain the situation. So the crime was being a dark-skinned black woman with strong political social opinions. See, I would edit this a little bit, and I would say the crime was having strong political social opinions, because there are even other black women attacking her. I think this is less about her skin color. I think in this specific case, it's more so about her gender.
There's this woman that posts almost exclusively about feminism, and you never mention trans women being included in your feminism. You cannot be upset that people might think you are a TERF.
Okay, star they them. So like I said, unfortunately, she did apologize, so let's watch that.
There are truly few things that I hate more than being misrepresented. First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone who has offered me constructive criticism in relation to this recent pushback.
Identity politics, they create these victimhood hierarchies. Every conversation becomes a battle about who is struggling more. So who should be centered first? See, many radical feminists, though, they view all gender structures, beauty standards, heterosexual dynamics, and femininity itself through the lens of systemic patriarchal oppression. I think trans women deserve dignity and safety, while biological women should also retain the ability to discuss sex-based experiences specifically. If that makes me a TERF, if that makes me a SWERF, if that makes me a SMURF, if that makes me literally Hitler, fine, call me whatever you want. That's my take on the issue. And see, that's the thing, that's the difference between people that lean right like me, or just in the center, or just maybe lean left, but not all the way.
I'm like in the center, I think.
We can disagree with people without dehumanizing them. We can see that, oh, we agree on this one thing. Cool, I will support you here because I think you're right in this specific case, like I am with this woman, right, this creator. We probably disagree on a bunch of other topics. But here,
I agree with Misha on a lot of stuff.
She didn't say anything that is giving TERF.
I disagree with her on some stuff,
They cannot look at things individually and be like, okay, yeah, I agree with you here, I disagree with you there. No, like, if you said something wrong to them, if you have the incorrect opinion, you are done. You are the dirt on their shoes. They will never defend you again. Even if the next thing you say is the sky is blue, no, they're going to disagree with you. Because if they do agree with you, that's it. That must mean you're on their side now, and they don't want to lose access to the cult.
My goal with my content has always been to make a safe space for women across the gender spectrum to reflect on and share their experiences. The first being my comment section.
Mind you, this has, at least right now, 295.9 thousand likes. So this one kind of viral.
At certain points, I've had to significantly decrease the amount of time I spend reading comments and messages due to how the hate I would receive would impact me or how obsessive I would become with the response. At some point, I found it easier to focus on consistent output than to sit with the response I was receiving. This failure to adequately mitigate my comment section led to narratives that I do not align with and were actively harming members of my community to exist.
The harm.
Oh no, that's not good.
Like, turn off your phone. Like, go outside. It's a comment section. You're Patrick. Look in the comment section. No one is even attacking you, mind you. And you read the comments and you feel attacked. So, like, scroll. Like, turn off your phone. Like I said, if it's something, genuinely hateful, calls to violence, moderator. Get a moderator. It'll help you out, girl. And, people can realize. They can be like, hey, girl, you got some crazy comments here. You should get a comment moderator, right? That's it.
Comment moderator.
Who are you? That's not her responsibility how you felt because of other people commenting on her video.
I give my history not to lessen my responsibility, but to give context as to why I have not been active enough in correcting bigoted narratives and removing those that perpetuate them. I apologize to anyone who has been harmed or made to feel unsafe in the comment section due to the hostility that was present there. Moving forward, I'll be more present with the comments being left and will be quick to remove or correct any bigoted or harmful narratives. Due to my hyper-focus on my individual life experience, there have been many subjects I have failed to adequately talk about, including trans rights. I would like to make it clear that my lack of discussion on this subject was not coming from a place of bigotry, but a lack of feeling like I had the adequate life experience or perspective needed in order to meaningfully contribute to this discussion. Since the beginning of me making content, I have been clear that I am not a TERF, and I've said that all women, trans women included, are a part of my feminism. Moving forward, I will make my allyship and love for trans people clear and irrefutable. And how I was being accused of harboring a bigotry that I do not have. As a black woman, I find myself functioning on defense and being extra sensitive to when my words or stances are being contorted due to a racist and sexist agenda.
Oh my god. You know, it's genuinely sad.
That's sad.
People being so terrified of their own community turning against them. And this is why I really encourage people to not rely so heavily on being part of these online communities and political identities even, because it's not going to end well for you if you are so obsessed having the right opinions at all times. This is how it'll end for you too. You'll say one little thing, maybe make a little joke or something, and they won't like it. Something will happen where someone even woker will come along, hear that, and say, no, you're done, you're out. And if you really care about what other people think, this will be your response too. You'll start crying, you'll start apologizing, and they won't give a shit. No, because they've already dehumanized you to the point where they don't see you as someone redeemable, okay? There's nothing you can do or say that would give you access back. Again, I do feel bad for her. I wish she did not make this video, though, because she did nothing wrong. And now they have this power.
I agree.
They see, oh, we can control this person. And I don't like that. I don't like the fact that she was bullied and silenced by a bunch of biological men for not prioritizing trans women when she herself was simply talking about usually her own experiences, right? As a black woman, they tried to silence her, and they succeeded. Don't give them this power.
She doesn't have to talk about trans women, and not every creator does, and that's okay. But in Paris's final video, she was crying, apologizing, and making it so clear that she will include trans women in posts. This is the exact opposite of what the trans community needs. This is a play-by-play scenario of what people say trans women do. They attack, confront, and barge into conversations.
Because unfortunately, there are so many that do. And that doesn't mean every trans woman does that, but it happens a lot. At a certain point, your own community has to take a look at what's happening internally, and it is your responsibility to change for the better and to say, hey guys, not everything is about us, right? And I'm glad this person is speaking up, but I wish more people would. I wish more trans women would speak up for biological women and say, hey, there are some people in our community that are disrespecting women, that are being very narcissistic and thinking everything has to revolve around them. Let's not do that, guys.
Yeah, let's not do that,
emulate
people.
Women. The least we could do is start with respecting women. This is another apology video from another creator who criticized the so-called TERF. Posted a video openly criticizing a fellow content creator of being a TERF. Accusation was based on the fact that many times her comment section is overrun by trans-exclusionary radical feminists. And I want to own my part in a few things. In my original post, I stated that I was scared of calling her out directly because I was scared of her audience. This creator is black, and me saying that is microaggressive. Do you see the jump you'd have to make? If you're thinking that, you know, to the people calling this a microaggression, you yourself are racist. No normal person would think this. Oh, she said that she's scared of the fans, you know, coming after her. Yeah, because she doesn't want the hate from her followers. Wherein that is racism. But see, because they're thinking, oh, black, scary, oh, I see, rat. They always reveal themselves. It's a projection.
My dentist asked what I was doing to whiten my teeth. I told her I just started chewing Lurine Co. Lurine's RMX50 complex.
It does not matter what my intent was. The implication of that language is microaggressive at best. And I own that, and I am 100% sorry for that. I also let myself down in the fact that I did not approach this conversation with what I pride myself on, which is empathy, grace, and accountability. I let my allyship to the trans community waver. I own my part in this. This is a huge learning lesson for me. Moving forward, I will make sure that all of my content focused on trans rights. I am deeply ashamed of myself and the damage I have done. I have placed myself on a pedestal as a person of authority, and I did not earn that. I have spoken with far too much authority. I have hurt members of this community in my attempts to protect. I've done harm. I want to apologize to Paris. I am practicing anti-racism. Anti-racism involves acknowledging our inherent biases and confronting them actively and working actively against them. Anti-racism. Oh my god. It just keeps going. It just keeps getting worse. The amount of group to get to this point where you're being punished and silenced and ostracized from slightly deviating from the narrative, from the approved narrative, which you thought you were doing the right thing, huh? You were calling out this TERF, right, supposedly. But you had a little slip up, you see. You said you were scared of her followers. And she's black, so that must mean you're racist. So now you're going on your anti-racist journey. I mean, maybe they'll find something else. It'll never end. They'll be like, well, the way you're sitting, it's actually ableist, because some people can't sit. So you should have made this video in a wheelchair. And then you'll start crying again. Guys, I'm taking some time off, you know, I have to reflect, and I'm gonna go to anti-ableist programming. It gets to a point where you have to look at yourself and say, wow, this is really embarrassing. What am I doing? Who am I crying for right now? Who deserves this much of my energy when I haven't even done anything wrong? These people are offended, let them be offended. That's not my problem. But I can't seem to do that.
While I wish we lived in a world where carrying out all women's rights automatically included trans women, it has never been the default of this movement. It has never been the default of our government. If anything else comes from this, I hope it has shown you all that transphobia does run rampant on the internet and within our own communities. More needs to be done to shut it down.
No, see, this is literal mental illness at this point, and I'm not trying to be like rude or something. I really think something is mentally wrong with these women that care so deeply when they've done nothing wrong that they're shaking, crying on camera. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. You need to put the phone down and you need to take a break. So you're right for doing that. But you need to use that time not to monitor the comments and learn how to be a better wokey. No, use that time to be out in the real world and see that there are bigger issues. Try to make friends with people that have a little bit of a different worldview.
Yeah.
That won't actually excommunicate you from any cult. Where you guys can have some thoughtful debates without going straight to name-calling, racist, bigot, whatever, microaggression, when, again, you have done nothing wrong.
I am committing to do all now to more closely monitor my own comment sections and remove anyone displaying racism, homophobia, transphobia, ableism, any form of bigotry.
But that's what she's using her time to do. You're gonna go insane, even more so if you do that.
Trans people are under attack in this country. Their rights are being stripped away from them. Their lives are being stripped away from them. Trans people are staring down the barrel of an active genocide. This is something I care deeply about. I have misused my platform, and that is why I want to take a step away.
This is like, oh, I pledge allegiance to the trans. Please, please do not. This historically. Think of human beings, and especially women, and how important the tribe is. The natural fear many people feel of social exile. I don't know why this skipped over with me, but this has never been something I particularly cared about, even when it came to like friend groups and stuff. I've always been the kind of person that preferred to have, you know, 2, 3-ish very close friends that I have very deep connections with.
I only have a few friends,
huge friend group, right? And if I ever had some issue with someone, I would be completely fine being alone. It doesn't matter how long I had to be alone for until I found my person, until I found someone that I could actually be friends with because I could actually be myself. I would prefer that, being with this kind of person who accepts me for who I am, than having 10, 20 fake friends. I don't need to be part of a group.
Me too.
I don't care about this social exile. But many women especially do. Many men do as well. They care for it because they feel like it gives them protection, stability. And I think that's where that psychology comes into play today when it comes to these cults. But again, that is why it is so important not to fall victim to that too heavily, right? Don't be so obsessed with being part of a club that you cannot criticize your own side. If you notice your side cannot handle any internal criticism, you need to leave. That is not a healthy place to be. This applies to pretty much everything. If your partner cannot handle a little criticism, right, coming from a place of love, like, hey, listen, I would prefer it if you don't do this. Oh, shut the f*** up. If that's the response you're getting, that's not healthy, right? If your friend is doing that, that's not healthy. If your family's doing that, no one can handle criticism. That's not a healthy dynamic. That's not a healthy relationship. It's no different when it comes to politics. You do not want to be part of that kind of group because they're not providing you protection. They're not providing you stability. Those are not your friends.
I've shown that I need to take a step back and focus on the weight of my actions and my irresponsibility. I'm removing myself from my platform for now until I know that I cannot commit any further harm, until I can prove to myself that having a platform is something I can earn and a responsibility that I can handle.
Oh my God.
Guys, you know, I think that would be a radical feminist in other parts of the world. Like, if we're talking about certain countries where, let's say, some Muslim extremists run it. Every woman who can't show her face, can't show her ankles, her eyes, can't go outside, can't talk, treated like an animal, absolutely. Radical feminists all the way. The patriarchy is the issue. It's rampant and it's causing harm to the women and girls. But in the West, I'm not a rad femme. In fact, I don't think it's mostly the men causing the issues. Here in the West, I think it's actually the societal empathy coming from more women than men.
Yeah.
Many men, yes. Many men on the left, especially. But more so women, because many women have this, innate desire to help, to care for. But that societal empathy comes through, and they actually try and bring sometimes those certain extremist beliefs over here, because anyone should be able to come here, even illegally. That's fine to many of those women, and that's a huge problem, because that ideology comes with those people, and that's not going to be helpful to women. And we already see the effects of that here, and especially in the UK.
I feel like trans women are the only group of women that are above critique, because anytime you attempt to say anything to the trans community, it's labeled as transphobic. I'm actually happy that this conversation is occurring, because how are we supposed to have allyship with a group that we can't even speak on? Fear of being canceled. One time I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw some trans girls talking, and they were kept saying, oh yeah, we're giving fish, it's giving fish. And y'all can go look up what that means, but I realized very quickly that this is a misogynistic term that means, it's giving that you were born a cisgender woman. So I'm in the comments, I'm like, hey, this is misogyny.
I'm so sorry. They're making fun of biological women. It's giving fish.
Oh, giving
They're getting
fish.
surgeries to create a wound between their legs that they have to make sure stays open, and it could cause all kinds of infections and complications.
Ew,
and you're making fun of biological women. Again, the very thing you're trying to emulate. It's giving fish. It's giving idiot. It's giving idiot.
This is blatant misogyny, labeling women as fish, knowing that the term fishy has been historically used to talk bad about women's genitalia. And I immediately got bombarded with comments about I need to mind my own community's business. I'm a TERF this. And I will say that the only reason that I'm just now talking about this now is that it did effectively silence me, right? Term was used to generate fear within inside me so that I would not continue to push back, but also create rhetoric around my name and my page so that I would be viewed as an unsafe person for trans people. They want cisgendered women to come to their rescue, to do the work, the labor, without actually doing any congruent labor or advocacy for cisgendered women. I don't see trans women making content about pro-choice, about menstrual products for women.
A lot of them are narcissistic, so that wouldn't affect them, because where would they put a tampon? Up their So if it doesn't affect them, they don't care. Many trans women do. Many trans women advocate for things like that. But many don't, unless they're the ones saying that they also get the period.
To me, to ask cisgendered women to do the labor that transgender women aren't doing for cisgender women is unfair. Also, I feel like they're not being asked to question their internalized misogyny. It's weird to me, right? It's a form of silence.
Weird.
Even cisgendered women have misogynistic social programming. So to think that somehow it escaped a group of people who were born male is asinine to me. It does not make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all.
With a problem or an issue with language or rhetoric that I have that they're spewing, and it's met with, oh, you're a TERF, mind your own community business, then why should cisgender women be responsible for advocating for trans women if we're not even allowed to speak on their community? They don't have the responsibilities that society looks for women to fulfill, like to have children, to start a family, to be overly nurturing and caring, and to suffer for the sake of others. That responsibility will never be put on transgender women.
And notice how that's a great point, is actually being applied right now. That all these biological men are expecting women to be so caring and nurturing, and even here, because see, but for the wrong reasons, we're not prioritizing you. So that's very mean. And since we're women, we're not allowed to have a backbone. We're not allowed to have an opinion. We're not allowed to speak up and disagree, because we're women and we're supposed to be soft and submissive and do whatever you say, biological men, right? No.
I do think that there is a genuine, larger, broader conversation that needs to be had here. And if you are a cisgendered male, you need to stay the out of it because you will never understand.
I love that. And you can tell this is a woman who's been through that, right? She said she was canceled, she was silenced, but she's done. She is done. And I hope that that original creator who made that video crying, I hope she becomes more like this woman, who is unapologetically sharing her opinions, being a true feminist, standing up for herself and other women, recognizing, yes, trans women still deserve dignity and safety and respect and all of that. That does not give them the right to silence women, to tell them what to say, what to think, what to do. A healthy society should be able to handle disagreement, and that is not what either extremes want to create. They want to prioritize obedience over truth. We cannot let that happen. Comment below what you guys think about this whole situation. I'm going to keep making videos like this, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Also like and share.
Well, that's it for today's video, everyone. Please like the video, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by Christmas. Thank you, everybody who's already subscribed to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Peace out. See you in the next video. Bye.